Hello everyone, welcome. Thank you for tuning in to our first edition of the Kava Combos here at Sunset Kava. And we have our special guest, Ekayani, here today, who will be talking about her movie and her walking journey with the Orisha Oshun. So welcome, Ekayani.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad to have you here today.
I'm really glad to be here. It's been a while since we had the pleasure of being here at Sunset Kava. We were here pre-pandemic.
I know, right? It's been a journey too. I'm sure you have your own journey that you've been through this year.
It's been interesting.
Yeah.
Been a lot of learning, and a lot of digging in. So that's been good.
Absolutely.
That's been good.
Absolutely. So tell us about yourself as an artist. Like, who are you?
I guess I'm a multi-genre artist. I don't seem to fit neatly into one category, which is fine with me because life is about learning. So currently what we're here to talk about today is this film that I made in chapters, and I used my own music as the soundtrack for the movie.
Nice, nice. I have to say, she is an amazing artist. That's how I actually met Ekayani. I went to a concert that she had in Encinitas.
Oh yeah!
Yes.
That's right, that's
yes.
right.
And it was amazing. It was high vibrations all over the place, and I just danced the whole time. So if you ever get to see one of her shows, you'll be blessed.
Yeah, well, I've been live streaming shows. I just did a New Year's Eve show on my page at Ekayani Music because that's kind of the way of the world right now.
It is, it is,
yeah.
it is.
But trying to bring out all the bells and whistles for everybody. So, yeah. Well, I'll let you, you're leading the interview.
Yes, I will do it. So, really kind of like tell us about a situation in your life that may have inspired you, because I think right now a lot of people are looking for inspiration. So how do you get your inspiration?
Well, I guess for artists, or for myself, you'll just get a thought, or you'll get an impulse to do something, you'll get an idea. So maybe I'll pick up a pen, and draw a little sketch, or write something down. That's really important to do.
Nice.
It's just really about taking action when you get an inspiration, or when I get an inspiration from an intuition, just to follow that. And because, a rolling stone gathers no moss. Because if you don't do it, you think you're going to remember later. You don't remember later.
I know. Like, oh man, I forgot to use that practice.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Okay. And so give us one thing that you do that really grounds you for self-care and just spiritual health and spiritual care. One practice.
One practice? Well, I'm gonna.
If you have more, I mean.
Well, I'm gonna name two.
Okay, I like that.
So, one thing that has really been helpful this past year and a half is that I've been doing something called Mantra Mondays. So, for the people that are on Instagram, I do that at 9:35 a.m. And I read and sing a mantra in Sanskrit, and then I translate that, and then I break it down. So I guess my deal really is bridging. I try and bridge gaps, taking things that may seem mysterious and really unpacking them and making them more relatable, I think, for our contemporary circumstances. Because ultimately, for me at any rate, connecting to the mystical, connecting to the divine, whatever form it comes in, really is about a relationship and really is about friendship. So friendship extends more than just beyond, human level, or, with our pets. It also extends into, the things that aren't necessarily seen, or that aren't easily seen, or things that we just ignore.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I must say I have participated in Mantra Monday.
Oh.
And it's really awesome. I've definitely seen some of your Mantra Mondays. I'm not a active participant. I don't engage. I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm just like, oh, check it out.
She's a lurker. That's cool.
I don't like, it's a challenge for me to like engage in social media. I'm more of a person, but I do like enjoy like when people do performances or meditations online. I do enjoy it. I guess I'm not quite sure how I'm supposed to engage with them sometimes.
Well, sometimes people make comments or people have questions, and that's the issue is engagement, increasing engagement. Mm-hmm. So I actually have a YouTube channel also. It's at Ekayani Performs, mm-hmm. and I just set up a restream situation so people can actually ask questions or chat or type in different things as I'm going about doing the breakdown and doing the singing. So it could just be waving your hand. I think in the future, this is going to be the new frontier, that this is going to become much more interactive as things go on, because it's still a little bit too static. Yes. And as far as to answer your other question about what I do to ground myself is gardening.
Ooh, that's
just
good.
Getting out there in the garden and just checking in on the plants to make sure they're okay, or the white flies attacking the blueberry bush. What's going on with these tomato moths that are trying to decimate the tree.
Yes. So you've got some blackberries growing?
Actually, I've got blueberries growing. I want blackberries, but I think I'm going to have to do a little bit more soil amendment and all of that. Nice. So looking forward to, planning out the garden now in the winter months and doing more of that, because I just think this is a great opportunity in this time while everyone is kind of being a hermit to actually, invite nature in and invite that connection in, which I think is a big part of the lesson of what we're going through now.
Yes. I love to see you post some pictures of your garden. I love beautiful gardens.
You got it.
Yes, we'll get that. Well, I want to ask one last question. Just tell us about how did you grow up? Because you definitely have this inspiring and just eclectic, well-rounded way about you. So I'm wondering, how was your childhood?
Thank you. Yeah. I can feel my mother smiling. My mother had a lot to do with it. So did my dad, and I grew up in New York City. So we're both kind of from the same region. We're both from the East Coast. Yes. And my mother, who is really kind of the topic of this movie that I did, you may know her, she was a beautiful woman, and also kind of a pioneering actress in television and movies and plays, and she was active in her career, and she actually started off as a singer in her career from about 1963, up until about the last year of her life, where she did one last short film. Her name was Lee Chamberlin, so you might have seen her on The Electra Company. That was the original cast with Morgan Freeman and Rita Moreno and that whole gang, Judy Grobart. Then she sort of graduated to doing movies with Sidney Poitier and the Notorious Bill and Denise Nicholas. So there's a movie called Uptown Saturday Night. A lot of people remember her as Madame Zenobia. And also Let's Do It Again, which was kind of the same cast of characters, but this time they were in New Orleans, that whole story. Then she went on to do more television roles, like she did All's Fair with Richard Crenna and Bernadette Peters. She was in Roots, the Second Generation with James Earl Jones. She played Odile. She was in Paris, which was another series with James Earl Jones. She did, it just goes on and on. She was in episodes of Law and Order, Moesha, what was that one with the Gary Coleman was a little boy. Different Strokes for Different Folks. Yeah. Anyway, she had quite an extensive resume. She was a working actress. And she was very inspiring. She felt that the only thing that was really a crime when it came to being a human being was not given your God-given talents. So she started taking me to the theater and to the ballet and to, you know, all kinds of things. Both my parents were very pro arts and very pro culture.
Amazing.
And I had a fantastic childhood in that way. I met so many amazing people and so many amazing artists, and really got a lot of encouragement from them in that way. Art was a good thing in our household. It was not a bad thing. It was the way, you know, my mother made a living, and I hope that answers your question somewhat.
Like, yes, it truly does, and I think it like leads us into the movie, the chapter actually of how you met Oshun. I had no idea how amazing. I know that your mom was amazing, but I didn't know that she had such a background of acting, and many of those movies I've seen, so I know I've seen your mother.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, she was well loved and still well loved. Oh my God, I'm getting emotional. Well, anyway, so how I met this Oshun, who is the star in the chapter. Tysheen, you know, plays the beautiful goddess of the water.
I did.
And as we said, I met her at Encinitas because she was doing her little cava tastings down there at the time.
Yes.
And then the background is people kept asking me, why did I move to Encinitas, which is pretty different from Brooklyn, New York.
Yes.
And so I kept kind of trying to tell them and encapsulate it, and they kept saying, wow, that's an amazing story, that's an amazing story. And then I thought, you know what, I think I need to tell the story, because when my mother died in May of 2014, it's like God dying when your mother dies. It's like the whole universe dies, because she's your first connection and your first person, and we were very close also. And a friend of mine kept saying to me, or a friend of mine said, well, you know, your mother's going to come back to you in a dream. And I waited and waited and waited and waited, and over a year went on, and I thought to myself, well, is she ever coming back? You know, it was very painful, you know. And then she did come back, and she came back in this very, very interesting way. So to frame this chapter that we are going to see, which is chapter 3 in the series, I had, been wanting her to come back, and I had a very interesting dream where she appeared to me, and that's kind of what this chapter is about. How I literally met the water. I can say as an aside, my parents and I, we used to go to the beach all the time in the summer. So we already had kind of a strong connection with the water. So it's very interesting in many ways. So I'll just kind of leave it at that and let you all watch it. Under 10 minutes and see what you think. Did I answer the question, Tysheen?
You answered it perfectly.
Okay.
Yes.
Chapter 3, How I Met Oshun. When we stopped in Chapter 2, I look out the window and it's raining.
I think, wow. Get up, grab my keys, go out to the landing, put on my raincoat, grab my bike helmet, fly down the stairs, unlock my bike, jump on the bicycle.
I biked over to Williamsburg in the rain. Over to Plan B, an event space along the Williamsburg-Brooklyn waterfront.
I go in and I see my friend Josefa, and she waves at me to come in, and have a seat, which I do. So they finish up their singing, and now it's time to go and get the blessing.
Meeting Oshun at the Gira. In Brazilian culture, Oshun is the goddess of sweet water.
The presiding personality for this ceremony is Oshun. So as I queue up to stand in line to go in to get this blessing, which I realize now is going to be some kind of a message, the woman who is acting as the usherette, she looks at me and she says, "Tell me if you prefer to speak to a man or a woman. It doesn't really matter, but if you have a preference, let me know." And I look at her and I say, well, actually, yeah, I would actually prefer to speak to a woman. But what I didn't tell her, and that I kept in my mind, because I thought it was rude to say something like that, a little pushy, and I didn't want to be pushy. I thought, but I'd really like to speak to Oshun. I wanted to speak to the water itself. Sure enough, I get led right over to Oshun and the woman who is assisting Oshun. Because mind you, this person only speaks Portuguese, okay? She doesn't speak any English, but her assistant was acting as a translator. She looks at me and she says, "Are you all right?" So I look at her and I say, "I'm fine. It's just that I saw my mother."
I'm wondering if you see the humor in this like I do. Of course, Oshun, being Oshun, already knew this.
And so she begins to give me a message from my mother.
The message was about to be delivered, and in essence, the message was to let go of the past.
Your mother says that you must completely let go of the past. You have to move forward. Your hands are the way in which your mother is going to communicate with you. I found this to be a very interesting point because my mother was a writer. And of course, you use your hands to write, or at least that's the way my mother preferred to write, because she felt that it was a very different experience using, a pen to a paper, because it was connected to your heart and your breath and your thoughts, and that the rhythm of writing is different when you write by hand.
I also received how-to instructions, how to receive messages independently.
Then she said, you need to go to the water. You need to go to the ocean. And when you go to the sea, go there and meditate.
She told me to gaze at the horizon.
And when you look at the horizon line, that is how your mother is going to speak to you. That is how she is going to communicate with you, basically through your heart. She emphasized again that I really needed to let go of the past, and kind of hinted that I needed to do that pretty soon. So I went home, picked up the phone, I called my friend Barry, and I said, hey, Barry, can you take me to the beach on Tuesday morning? Apparently my mother wants to tell me something. And he said, sure, I'll pick you up at 7 a.m.
This is my friend Barry. Notice the sugar skull.
So Tuesday morning rolls around, we take off and go to the Rockaways.
At that hour of the morning, it only took about 20 minutes to get to the Rockaways. And it was a beach that I had been going to with my parents ever since I was a little girl.
So Barry and I got to the beach. We set up his little tent. We set up the blankets and all of that. And then when I was satisfied that, I had assisted him enough, I said, hey, Barry, I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to go talk to Mom. He's like, okay. So I walk along the beach.
and I sit cross-legged and I look out at the horizon and I wait because I think, at any moment I'm going to get a message. After sitting there for about 5 or 10 minutes, I realized that I needed to be personal, that I actually needed to address my mother and let her know that I was there and ask her what she wanted to tell me.
It's all about the relationship.
I mean, on the one hand, you could say, well, sure, Spirit already knows that because Spirit, knows everything. But there's a lot to be said for having a relationship and being personal, because that's what we want anyway, isn't it? We all want some kind of relationship. We want a meaningful relationship. So I said, okay, Mom, I'm here. What is it that you wanted to tell me? Looking out at the horizon, I waited a few more moments, and then I just got a very strong impression in my heart. Suddenly, everything became very clear to me, and I could understand that I needed to leave New York City pronto, and I needed to go to live with my grandfather in Arizona, because I was starting to get the feeling or the message that he might not be around for too much longer.
My trip to the beach had provided me with mental clarity and an action plan. I had to leave my home behind me, and that required a lot of faith. I had to travel to the unknown. I was going to have to walk the walk. You've been listening to Jai Radhamadava from my album Yoga on the Dance Floor. Thank you for listening and watching Ekayani Music.
She's on.
We're live.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Nice.
So, Oshun, thanks for showing up.
Yes. I did show up. That was so fun. I remember that day. It was just so crazy. And I was just like, we're going to make this happen. We got a perfect, setting. I couldn't have asked for a better setting.
Yeah. Shout out to Sid.
Yes.
For coming all the way from New Mexico to helping with that.
Yes.
She's the gal who helped with the footage. But yeah, it was we were waiting at Swami's.
Yes.
Waiting for you to come, and then your ride didn't show up.
It was just so crazy that day. I was like, I don't know what's happening. And I was like, and I'm in PB right now. And we ended up
Mission Beach.
Mission Beach, here. We went down to the little bay area. Yeah.
That came out perfectly.
Perfect.
Dave drove like a maniac.
He did, and we all was definitely before COVID, because we were jammed in that truck. I think I was sitting in on your lap too.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We made it.
Yeah.
So, wow, I definitely had a journey, and for your mom to show up in such a beautiful element as Oshun, so powerful, so loving, so sweet. And that would explain it, because it's the mother and daughter aspect of your relationship in Oshun.
Yeah. Well, it is very interesting. I do have some Brazilian ancestry, actually. My mother's father was born in Brazil, and his father was born in Brazil, and his father's father, I think, is actually from Italy, because there was a lot of immigration to Brazil, in the 1820s.
Okay.
In that area, at that point in time. But suffice it to say that, I had taken samba classes with my East Coast samba teacher, Kenya Ribeiro. I did that for forever. And, she had a special program one time about the Orishas. But never at any point did I ever think, oh, I'm going to meet Oshun, I'm going to actually have an interactive relationship here with this personality. And the thing that I most want to communicate with people, because this is just the beginning of the whole hijira, of the whole journey that I went through, which involved me giving up everything, really, because Oshun was very clear, and she said, you know, your mother says you have to completely leave your past behind. So for me, that meant leaving New York City, where I was born. I had at least 50 years of history, about 50 years of history there, give or take. My job, my apartment. If you know how hard it is to get an apartment in New York City,
New York City.
I mean, people will leave, but they'll still try and hang on to that apartment.
Yes.
You know, all my friends, my neighborhood, you know, everything that I knew, but it was very emphatic. So, you know, I followed the instructions to go do that meditation and by the water, and to sit there and to look out on the horizon, and you know, to ask for some guidance. And that was kind of funny because, as I say in that chapter, when I got to the beach with my friend Barry and made my way down the beach to do the meditation, you know, I'm just sitting there kind of like, okay, you know,
like, what's happening?
I'm here. And then, you know, it was kind of like, hey, dummy, let her know you're here, you know. So this I think is a really important point, is that it's an interactive relationship. It's a relationship, and even though, you know, death came down as a veil, you know, between us, that actually I discovered in this whole process that that's all it really is, that it's really kind of a matter of awareness and being able to listen in a way that, you know, perhaps, you know, that I wasn't necessarily accustomed to listening to and connecting more, you know, with the elements. So after I said, okay, you know, I followed instructions. The next chapter is actually pretty funny too, because when I got home, just to make sure that I was paying attention, when I walked across the living room, from my bedroom to my living room, I got shoved from behind, right in front of a picture of my mom, and I was like, went like this, and you know, there's nobody there. And so, you know, I'm kind of like, did I trip on the rug or something?
Like, what happened? Like, definitely the energy to just like give me that nudge.
And then when I came back, you know, from whatever I was doing in the kitchen, I got shoved again the other direction.
Wow.
And then it was like a little harder. And so then I laughed and I went, okay, Mom, okay, I got the message. I got the message. I got to move forward, and I got to move forward fast. But just in case it wasn't clear, when I went back the third time, I got another shove.
Amazing how spirit works. Spirit will get your attention no matter what. It will just get you in the most way that you're like, what is happening to me right now? Am I going nuts?
Am I going nuts?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going nuts. Yes, I just
not. No, you're not.
No, and I wanted to affirm that for people who may have had experiences like this, who didn't have anyone around them to say, no, you're not crazy, this is a real thing. To not be afraid, you know, and you know, to have faith that there are guides and angels, there are people that care about you, that I think specifically hang around.
They do.
To make sure that you are okay, because you know, my grandfather, well, he's been around too. So it's been great having them.
Definitely a believer on communicating with our loved ones, the ones we've met and the ones we haven't met on the other side. I've received so many messages from my ancestors that I think it's what keeps me going, and it guides me through life. I remember when my grandmother passed away, she immediately like came to me, and it was so, I can smell her. And I went somewhere, and someone and it said, "Oh, did your grandmother pass away?" And they gave me like this message, and I didn't understand at the moment, but when I went home and I was thinking, she would always say, "All God's children have shoes." It was a saying that she said. It was really like to tell you not to worry, like you don't need to worry. And the woman said to me, she's saying something about shoes, and I didn't know. I was like, maybe she doesn't like that I'm wearing sneakers because she likes heels and she likes nice shoes. I was like, maybe that's what it was. And then later I remember that day when I was walking at the lake, I was worrying a lot. And in my mind, I was just worrying, and I was like speaking to her. And so her message was for me to stop worrying. Like, everything's going to be taken care of. So it's amazing how that happens.
Yeah, that makes me remember too. I mean, just in case anyone is curious, what happened is that I did end up going to Arizona because that's where my grandfather was living. And I got there a month and 3 days before he left his body. So I got there just in the nick of time.
Yeah.
So that's another message, is that when you get the guidance, act on it, you know, because other people can see other things that you may not be able to see, because I guess they're not necessarily caught up in that day-to-day and second-guessing like we are.
Yes.
And needless to say, it was a period of profound anxiety when he passed. And a friend of mine said, I hear something ringing, I don't know if that's Vika or not, but I got a message, you know, kind of the way you got a message from your grandmother that said, would you please tell her not to worry, everything is going to be okay.
Yes.
Which at the time, it didn't seem like it was going to be okay at all.
Yes.
But yeah, that's what's going on. Does anyone have any questions, or anyone that's watching have anything they want to say, or any contributions? Because I'm all for that.
Me too. I love to hear people's curiosity. I know a lot of people know of Oshun, but there's a lot of people that may not know who Oshun is.
We're going to bring someone on to talk about that too.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
Vika Hernandez is waiting in the wings.
Yes.
And she teaches Afro Brazilian dance and culture here in San Diego, actually between here and Santa Barbara, it seems like. And I got to meet her. I don't know. I saw this. Somehow I saw this flyer at Encinitas about this kind of free workshop that was going on, free dance class, and so I got on that, and that's how I connected with Vika. And I thought it'd be nice to bring her on here to, you know, give some other insights and kind of take the mystery out of those who aren't familiar with Oshun. So we're trying to connect with her.
Trying to connect with Vika. Yes. Vika, I know Vika is probably taking care of her baby right now.
Well, maybe we should just give her a conventional phone call and tell her that we're ready. I can just talk about some other stuff while you're doing that. I mentioned a little bit about the soundtrack for the movie. So this is a CD. It's called Light a Candle in the Darkness. And this is a collection of songs. There's 10 songs on here. And when you listen to when you go through the chapters, you will hear either that there is music in the background that is playing, and also it is accompanied with a music video. So I thought it would be a great idea to put this kind of meditation music and this uplifting music on a CD and available for everybody. So that's what's going on here. So when you take the experience, you have an opportunity to pick up the CD. It's not expensive, it's $10 to get that. And also, I don't know, some of y'all might recognize this t-shirt. I know Tysheen's been wearing this t-shirt around.
Yes.
Been getting comments, so that's available also. So I just wanted to give people something concrete, you know, to hold on to as well, if they're interested in that, in the music.
Okay, she's in.
She's in, okay.
I see Vika. Guess we're gonna bring her here in a second. Hey, you're looking beautiful, Vika.
So are you ladies. Everybody's shining bright. I'm at my mom's house, so
We're on standby.
I have yellow and
So
gold.
if any of y'all aren't following me on Instagram, my Instagram handle is Ekayani _ musical_yoga.
Oh, so
You can follow me on that, and then at the top there's a link in the bio where you can sign up for the experience. It's free to take, and it takes about a week. You get a chapter a day. Chapters are 10 minutes.
Yeah, just have her like on the
You know,
background.
I think the longest one is 20 minutes because I respect your time. And it's a private experience. It's a subscription experience. You can only get it by signing up. So that's what's up with that. It's free to take, and I would love to get your commentary and your interactions about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Are you on the phone?
I'm not.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
So we're getting Vika queued up here.
She's in.
We're getting her queued in.
So it's showing. Okay, there it is. Yeah, she's in.
Yeah, so just get her on the phone so you can hear. Call her something.
I did. She can't answer.
She's right there, sweetie.
No, but we can't hear her.
Oh, okay. We can't hear you, Vika. So
Tell her
we're trying to get
we're
you.
gonna call her on. Tell her to stay in the room.
Stay in the room,
But answer her cell phone.
but answer your cell phone. Okay. Okay, she's got the phone. Okay, now I see it. She's got her earplugs in.
Hi.
Okay, we can hear you. So just stay in the room and we can hear you.
You gotta like turn her down a little bit. I would say it's just like because it's too backing, so you don't want to like have her too loud.
No, I got it low. Okay. Mute it. Okay. So she's
Do you want to sit over here so you can see her?
I can see her.
Oh,
I
okay,
can see
awesome.
I can see her from here.
Yeah, just keep it low.
Keep it low.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. She's here.
Hey, Vika.
Hi. So I can only see Ekayani, so maybe there's a way that the camera could turn so I could see you
She can
guys.
see me. See you.
So I could-
I can't hear what she's saying, Dawn. You have
I'll put it in
to
the
listen
middle.
to your phone.
Yeah, she says that she can only see you.
Oh,
She's
okay.
just seen the because she's seen the webcam.
Oh yeah.
Just
Don't
to
worry
have
about
it like
that. We can see
censored a
you.
little bit. There we go. That way we're all interacting
Yes.
in the same conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, can you guys hear me well? Everybody can hear me?
We can hear you.
We can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. So I was tuning in. Thank you for that lovely introduction, Erica. I really appreciate that. Do you prefer that I call you Erica or Ekayani?
Ekayani.
Okay.
Or just
That's
say
what I
hey you.
thought. I've been sticking with Ekayani, so I just want to make sure.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, happy to be here. Thank you. First time going through this channel, so I'm excited. Thank you for having me a part of your beautiful project. This is so lovely.
Well, I wanted Vika to be with us today because she actually teaches. And apparently there are some people that come here to Sunset Cava that have taken classes with you. So there's this overlapping universe here, which is wonderful. So I met Vika because she was offering a free workshop in Afro Brazilian dance at Eve
Encinitas. I can't
Encinitas.
hear you guys.
She says she can't hear us.
Try unmuting her on the phone. Is her headphones to her phone or to her computer?
She's wearing headphones, yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's fine. She should hear us now.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I met Vika that way, and then something really far out I found out was that she was involved with this solstice celebration in Santa Barbara with Mario Silvano, I hope I'm saying his name right, and that she'd been involved
Mariano Silva, yeah.
Mariano Silvano, she'd been involved in this like awesome Afro Brazilian samba parade that's been going on forever, and then it opened up this whole other world of the whole weekend workshops, and she worked out this dance routine for us and everything. So I thought, Vika would just be a great person to come on here and give us a little more understanding about Oshun and Yemaya and how they work. We had a nice chat the other day, Vika. And there she, look at that butt. That is a samba butt right there.
Sorry, my daughter just popped in. I'm so sorry. I just did like the mother finger snap that all of us, I was just like silent and like snappy right now. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So go ahead, you talk, girl.
I've been dancing. I've been fortunate enough to take classes with a teacher who's from Bahia, Mariano Silva, as Erica mentioned. And I've been fortunate as well to kind of go a deeper level and go to Bahia to study there, and kind of get a really spiritual deep dive into these traditions. And I think that one of the things that people kind of lose on is when they start like syncing this religious tradition with other religions. There's like syncretisms that people compare this with. And I think that really devalues what's going on in some ways, because it's not the same. There's really deep sort of energy forces going on. There's a really deep connection to the elements, and other things. So with the dances. I'm not from the African Brazilian religious tradition, but I have really deep respect for the teachers that I learned from there, and so I'm a student forever. And one of the things that we cover in the African Brazilian dance tradition are these dances for the Orishas, which are sacred, spiritual, cosmic forces of nature that manifest inside of us as well as outside of us. So the way that the elements make up our bodies is the inside of us and manifest outside of us. And so just by the dances, one of the things that I like to highlight in my classes is just this aspect of the cosmic self, the cosmic body, and that when we move the body, we have this tremendous ability, and this is throughout the world in many different esoteric traditions when it comes to having a body, moving your body, and being able to access various levels of consciousness while we're going through our movement and experiences. So, the Orishas for me are always just for me, it's an exploration of the self, an exploration of consciousness on an individual level, but as well as on a collective level, like a single vibration or a very powerful collective vibration that can occur. So in terms of your experience with Oshun, who is, if we are talking on levels of cosmic vibrations, connected to love and beauty and sensuality and fertility, then, you know, I think that your experience being guided by the heart and being you know, clearly connected to this love element, because you're communicating, you know, on a cellular level to your ancestors, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody still with me?
Yeah, no, we're still with you. Well, I mean, I think well, one of the things I like about Brazil is that it has a very kind of like all-embracing mood. I think we were talking about the African diaspora, and
Yes.
Tysheen wanted to mention also that Oshun is originally from the Yoruba tradition and Africa, and how she's traveled. And I just think it speaks to the universality and the warmth of Africa. And, you know, this is the thing that I wish more lighter skinned people could understand. I mean, I straddle both worlds, you know. I mean, I'm half black, half white, and everyone else who's in there, you know, it's a multicultural pot right here. But, you know, ultimately, it's like water is something we all need. Water covers the ocean. We're surrounded by water when we're in the womb. Our mother carries us in the womb. The ocean is the mother to so many different living entities, you know, the sweet water, you know, we were talking about Yemaya and Oshun, you know, all these things are universal. So while it's perfectly normal, I think, to feel attached to your particular tradition, or maybe the one that you're drawn to, you know, there's also, it doesn't mean that you can't learn or that you can't see the universality of the creation, because God is one. God is one and paths are many, and different people were put in different parts of the earth. So God speaks to everyone in the way that they can understand, you know.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
So
I
wasn't
agree.
born
I think
in Brazilian tradition. I was going to say I wasn't born in Brazilian tradition per se. I grew up as a middle-class child on the Upper West Side of Manhattan in New York City, you know.
Yeah, no, hey, listen, I was born in Central Asia, in the former Soviet Union, you know what I mean? I think that what draws, you know, when we're kind of speaking to your beautiful experience on a spiritual level, I think that it's lovely. I mean, in terms of the history, yes, this is religious traditions that came across the Atlantic Ocean. You know, they came from West Africa. They came to Brazil. They came to various parts of the Caribbean, and they even came to the U.S. You have, you know, a very heavy influence, you know, in like particularly like New Orleans. You would like see, you know, the African religious traditions more alive and vibrant, and there's definitely overlap across that diasporic connection back to Africa. So absolutely, I think that just being connected to that history is not limited to country. You know, it's you know, it's a transatlantic history, and it's beautiful that this information and wisdom survived so much persecution, and is able to give this profound, you know, that these traditions were kept alive because they were mainly oral traditions. You know, the Ifa philosophy is an oral philosophy, and communicated through you know, storytelling, and these dances are connected to those stories, you know. So when you're dancing, you're connecting to your ancestral DNA, cellular wisdom, but the stories of like the Orisha survived, despite 500 years of persecution and tremendous oppression.
I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you about the dance for Oshun, and maybe you could describe some of the elements of it or what she's doing.
Yeah, so the dance for Oshun is very sensual and connected to, her sweet waters. So the movements are very calm and and as well as her rhythm, which is, each Orisha has associated rhythms, and each rhythm has a dance that has its own story. So they're layered. But her dance, she's also holding like a fan. Sometimes it's represented as a mirror in her hand, and she's looking at herself in her mirror. So the dances are her reference. She's also got this, waterfall element to her, so that when you sweep, I don't know if you guys could see, but you would sweep down and connect, water being kind of, basically you're not just dancing water, you become the water when you dance, right? So you're embodying the dances, and you become the water as you're dancing. And water being connected to, even like baptisms around the world have this water, or this rejuvenating, cleansing, birthing aspect, connections to water. And yes, you're born in the womb, and as Ekayani and I were, we kind of briefly touched on this on our earlier conversation, where the rhythm that you're born into is your heart. So your heart is, your automatic manifestation is rhythmic in how you enter the world, and so those rhythms are also the first ones you hear in your mother's womb. So while you're in water, you hear your mother's heart, and so that callback that you experience with Oshun energy, that you're called back, almost into the womb, into your mother, because she is your creator. She is the one that the vessel that brought you forth. Right?
Yeah,
so
or even just laying on her chest and listening to her heartbeat. You're making me remember something that when I first got here and was like bouncing around because I didn't have a permanent place to live, and so I was exploring different parts of San Diego, like, well, maybe I could live here, maybe I could live here. And one day I went to Carlsbad, and I went over by, I guess, there's a funny little store that says like pipes, and they sell surfboards, and I guess if you go down that way, there's access to the beach. So I went there, and I remember just being drawn to lay kind of like face down or chest down on the sand, and I had my head like this, and I just had the sensation that I was laying on my mother's chest, just like when I was a baby, and I was listening to the water, pound on the shore, and it was so soothing. And you're right, it was just like a heartbeat, and I felt just like I was laying on my mother's chest just when I was a child, when I needed to be soothed by her, and it immediately just put me in like a soothing place, which was wonderful, because I have been through a lot of upheaval and a lot of changes. So it is a literal thing. There is that aspect of, yes, we were in the womb, but obviously we have to leave at some point.
That's
But
right.
there's still
But we're
that
always
through
connected.
there's still that ability, to connect through Mother Earth, and still to connect through that memory of our own mother, by laying on our Mother Earth, and
That's right.
still getting that experience. So it's not as like weird and far out as people think it is. It's actually totally 3D.
Yeah.
Just
I think that it's really beautiful also that you had this experience by the ocean, because the ocean being associated with Yemanja, and Yemanja's maternal, she's the mother of Odisha, and so it's like our primordial mother is the ocean, and the rivers flow out to the ocean, where they kind of join the vastness of her embrace. And Oshun is a daughter of Yemanja, and so I think it's really beautiful that you had this experience also with the ocean. And a lot of people, I think have this relationship with the ocean, this sense of mother,
Yeah, especially here in San Diego, there's so many surfers. I mean, just where I live, and where we live in Encinitas or near Encinitas, all you have to do is just walk out and you just see all the surfers there just bobbing in the ocean, and just for hours. They'll wait hours to catch a wave. They don't care. They're
out there.
They're just so chill. I mean, aside from the physical exertion, right, and the shape that you have to be in, just literally being in that bath, in that salt, you get out, you don't have any problems. Nothing can really, it's a stereotype of the surfer dude going, chill out, dude, but if you tried surfing, that's exactly how you feel when you get out of the water. You can't understand why people are so agitated and upset. Why don't they just chill out, man?
Right?
Did you want to ask Vika anything, or?
No, I think Vika really explained everything really well and beautifully, and I'm grateful to have you on set here today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Tell people where you teach.
Yeah, wait, you got something coming up,
Yes.
actually, because Vika told me that the topic of our little chitty chat beforehand was what she was talking about for International Women's Day. So you've got that event coming up, so you want to mention that?
Yeah. Sure. So while we're getting personal and kind of discussing things on a deeper level, I had sort of my own transformations through being, immersed in the African Brazilian dance traditions, and I am very aware, and those who have interactions, with me on a regular level, that I am not from the African Brazilian tradition, okay, and my study is I feel that through my work, what I want to communicate is this message that we that we are completely, and as human beings and having bodies, are interrelated to the elements and to the cosmos, and it's through dance and movement we sort of nurture this relationship, or we use dance and movement to open that doorway for your own journey to understand yourself deeper. And the Women's Day Exchange was born out of that sort of space that I was in, is that I wanted to highlight the sacred essence of the planet and connect it with the human body, because if our relationship to respecting women is completely interrelated our relationship to Mother Earth. So if we're not connecting that, then we're in a lot of trouble when there's
Amen
no
to that.
balance.
When is it? When is the event, and how can
So
people
the
join
event is
event?
on International Women's Day. It's the weekend right before that. It's a 3-day event, March 5th, 6th, and 7th. In the past, we have danced, we have planted trees, we have had soil engaging activities. We've had really brilliant and amazing instructors come through. This year, most of our event will be virtual. With workshops that you'll be able to access online. There'll be Afro Brazilian dance workshops. There'll be Afro Brazilian drumming workshops if people want to get into it a little bit deeper. And we'll have some aspect of it that will also be accessible live, but with COVID guidelines in place and all that. So that's the first weekend of March, and that's called International Women's Day Arts and Dance Exchange. If you go to Instagram, it's at Women's Day Exchange. And we would, of course, love to keep spreading this message. We must never lose sight of what is sacred. And that I think we're in a lot of trouble because we're losing our sacred connections, to land, to each other, to respecting the body, the earth. It's not compartmentalized as we like to believe. It's all, like you said, things are coming together 3D. So it's all connected.
Yeah, an end to rape. Thank you.
And what?
An end to rape. Let's end the raping.
The rape culture.
The rape culture, the whole thing. So, anyway,
Yes.
I don't really have any words, but
It's heavy.
It's heavy. But thank you so much for the work that you're doing, and thanks for hanging out, and hopefully maybe you'll teach an Oshun dance.
Yeah.
Hint, hint, soon or something. That'd be fun.
Well, I just also to say within that, this is the year also dedicated. Oshun makes a strong presence in this year. There's predictions about the reigning energy of the year, and so this is a reigning energy year for Oshun. And
didn't know that. Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah. So you're in tune. You're in tune. You're like all your vibrations are tuning in.
Yes. Maybe one day I'll do an Afro Brazilian dance class. I did Afro Cuban, and I really enjoyed that. But I've never done Afro Brazilian. That's how. It was one of the ways that I was really introduced to Oshun was through Afro Cuban, and learn where she came from and how and just how Ifa was brought to the Western world, so to speak. How the enslaved Africans didn't forget their tradition, and even though they were forced to worship other gods, they hid their orishas in the deities that they were forced to worship. And so a lot of the different patron saints, they carry the energy of the orishas because of the ancestors.
Yeah, exactly. I actually think, very similar occurred in Brazil, where a lot of these traditions had to go underground, and now it's a little bit more kind of
mainstream.
A little bit more mainstream, although I would say that the persecution is very much still alive. This is, I love this because this work is also really important for people never to use language for granted. Hollywood feeds us this kind of stuff all the time when people say, oh, that voodoo. And you're like, well, wait a minute, you're demonizing African-rooted spiritual traditions, and you don't even realize it. Because it's just part of mainstream to just use words, that we don't think about. And Vodun in Haiti is, largely misrepresented, and has all the African diasporic religious traditions have similar histories. You know, they just sort of evolved differently once they landed on new land, really, like reconfiguring, you know, and rebuilding that connection back to Africa.
Yes.
That's interesting. I was going to say, well, Vika, you know, said that I'm interested in spiritual traditions, and I am, and so you know, the whole Sanskrit and the kind of the Indian side of it too. So in India, you know, the rivers are definitely considered to be feminine, and Ganga Devi, you know, Mother Ganga, who comes from the causal ocean, who comes from basically the celestial ocean, you know, outside of the purview of this material world, who comes down, you know, lands on Lord Shiva's head, because you always see Lord Shiva with this water on his head, like kind of a waterfall. And you're like, what's that, you know? So basically Lord Shiva is breaking, you know, the weight of this water, you know, coming from a dimension and a height that we can't really comprehend, just to kind of break or fall, and then, you know, kind of, you know, escorting or, you know, ushering in, you know, Ganga Devi in that way. But, you know, the Jamuna River is female, Jahnavi, female, you know, all these rivers and so on and so forth are all considered to be female. The earth.
Well, thank everyone for coming and joining us today and listening to this. I'm sure people will, what I notice a lot of times is after the live post and it goes into the Instagram TV, the questions arise.
Okay.
So yes, so they'll be in there.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Beijos.
Well, that was fun. I think there's no questions. That just means that we did our job.
Oh, okay. Are we still on here?
We are. We're back. We're back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I guess I'll just say thank you so much for having me on. It's just so great to see you again.
Yes.
If you haven't seen Tysheen star in this movie, then you need to sign up. So just go to my Instagram. It's I think Tysheen's tagged me.
It's tagged in there, yes.
And you just go up to the top in the bio, and it's free. And so, you know, at least make it to chapter 3.
Yes,
and see her.
At least do that. Yeah, my one and only debut.
So awesome.
It was a great experience, and I'm so grateful for you to reach out to me.
Oh, you know, the other funny thing is that when I called Tysheen, that week or something, and I said, hey Tysheen, you know, I don't know, but would you be willing to be in my movie and to play Oshun? Do you know who Oshun is? And she said, that's funny. I was just thinking about her a lot today.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
it was true. It was like she was just like really honing in on me, and like everywhere I went, someone said to me, they was like, do you know who your Orisha is? And they were like, you remind me of Oshun. And then I was just like, oh, okay. And I was hearing that a lot. And then you come and call me. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to say yes to this because something is up.
Something's going on.
Yes.
And then, so tell me, about your altar really quick. So did you have this, her before, or you got what's the story about this and the seeds and the cinnamon and all this that you got going on here?
Yeah, so this is just a little bit of some stuff that I have, but so yeah, I was I always really I reached out to Oshun, and I listened to my Orisha music, and I listened to her song a lot in my daily just worship and practice. And many people come here and they'll hear it too. I'll play it here. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so but what I didn't have was like altar for her. Mm-hmm. And I did. She said, okay, well, you know, she wanted me to make something for her, like present her. So I just started little by little collecting things that she likes. And so I have like the honey. And so when I do like prayers and light my candles to Oshun, I taste the honey because she was poisoned. And so she doesn't trust you to feed her. So she wants you to eat before you give it to her.
Oh,
To show that you're not trying to
that
harm
you're
her.
for the reals.
Because she was very beautiful and people envied her, and so someone did poison her.
Oh,
So she was poisoned.
I don't know this part of
Yeah.
her story.
She has a very deep story. And so
And what are the seeds?
the seeds, yes, pumpkin seeds, because as you see, like the pumpkin, she likes
Oh.
pumpkin, so there's pumpkin and clove in here, so she likes a lot of spices, so these are the spices that she likes, the aromas, and the cinnamon.
I know pumpkin is good for female reproductive
It is.
story.
Yes, so because she is the goddess of fertility as well, and
Mhm.
love. And then the sweet honey, and then cinnamon. She and then the cinnamon sticks, and she likes sweet things, and cinnamon, and cinnamon is for like prosperity as well. So I burn like honey and cinnamon candles also around the altar,
Mm-hmm.
and peacock. There's been known that peacocks follow her. She likes peacock feathers. So you really just like bring things to her altar that she likes. She likes shiny things. She likes sweet things, beautiful, colorful things.
Mm-hmm.
So I really just give her gifts and let her know that those gifts are coming from a place of love and it's safe to receive those gifts from me.
But tell me more about this poisoning. This is the first time I've ever heard this.
Yeah. So and I don't want to get it incorrect, but yeah, it was like
So she was a princess somewhere?
Yeah,
or what
she
happened?
was just a goddess. She was like a beautiful woman in her village and beautiful, and people came to her, and people were also jealous of her. So someone offered her something, but it wasn't for her good, and that's how that was like the story of her death, so to speak.
I see. So sort of death and rebirth.
Rebirth.
She's
yeah.
like, I'll show you suckers. I'm going to become a goddess now.
Yes, I'm coming back, and I'm coming back even stronger. So
Wow.
a lot of women weep and wail to her because you hear her screech, her wailing. So she's very, very passionate. It's like when we are in our most passionate, vulnerable state, it's like really good to call on her for your strength to help you navigate that and come through it. That was one of the times where I really feel like she came to me. I was going through a crazy time in my life. Crazy relationship that was in transition, and it was just insane, and it was a very toxic situation in Oshun. That's where I was really starting to like traveling around, and people would mention her, or I would see something of her, and I'm like, what? Who is this? And somehow a book was put in my hand of Ifa, I mean the tradition Ifa, where they break down all the orishas, and I'm going to say that she's my Orisha because she's always popping up, whether I want her to or not, and people bring her to me. And so, yeah.
So she helped you navigate through a hairy situation. And how so? I mean, you might want to get into details.
Yes,
but...
yeah. Well, just really like building like confidence again, and like seeing my own beauty, because she's just the goddess of beauty, and like allowing myself to like see the beauty in me that I wasn't able to see at that time.
That's because, toxic relationship, someone putting you down or demoralizing you or not letting you,
She loves when you're in that, because she's like, I can help. This is my specialty.
Huh.
And really just allow my really trust again, because as you know, she was poisoned. So, and she does trust again, but she lets you just show her.
Right, and we can be poisoned in so many different ways. Literally poisoned or poisoned in our psyche. Wow, that's really interesting.
And anytime I have any trouble, I'm a mother, as many as you know. I have a daughter, and so I'm building my altar also for her mother, Yeminya. So on the same area, I have some artifacts of Yeminya as well, and Oshun really does keep a powerful bond between mother and daughter, and I feel like my connection also with my daughter and my mother is really, really strong, and I like to believe she has something to do with that. Like whenever like with anyone you have any disagreements, somehow we always just we never like fall, we really come together and stay really close.
That's wonderful. Wow, that's great. It's great to hear your story there.
Yeah, and she's really cool, and there's so many different variants of her. Vika was saying too, like sometimes like in this one she's holding a mirror, sometimes she's holding a fan. I've seen that one where she's holding a fan. Sometimes you might see some peacock feathers on her statue, or just different things that she likes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the color yellow is for her, and
Sunny,
yeah, golden, good old sunshine. And then there's a celebration. I believe it's like September 8th. They're usually in Africa, and I'm sure they do it all over the
really,
world.
September 8th.
Mm-hmm.
That's our wedding day.
Really?
Yeah,
So
we got
she
married on September 8th.
She was with you. She chose it.
You know, I married a surfer. I remember thinking if I ever got married that the guy had to be into water and had to love the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently I had to be taken all the way out here to find that person. And it's just so funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well.
So there you. She chose your wedding day.
Thank
Thanks
you.
to her. Yes. So yeah, if you ever wanted to create an altar for her, you don't even need to have a statue of her. I usually have a yellow candle, something yellow, or even white. Put some honey around it, and when I offer it, I just taste it.
That's
so
wonderful.
She knows that it is. It's more symbolic. Yeah, and then any sweet spices that you have will do. And this still smells really nice. But yeah, any nice sweet spices, and she's really good for your love life and
Keeping things
intact and peaceful,
nice,
and loving. Yes,
that is so nice.
Yeah, go Oshun.
Well, all right then.
Yes.
Yay!
We did it, and thank everyone for showing up today. We have a lot of nice viewers on here today, so I'm grateful for
Any
that.
shout outs? Who's there?
My mom's here. I see that.
Hey, Mom.
She hasn't said anything. She's actually being quiet. You know what? It's Sunday. Everyone's usually quiet on Sundays. Well, make sure that if you have any questions or if you want to participate in anything that Ekayani has, are you still selling those shirts? Because I definitely need another one of those shirts.
Oh, I have a few shirts left. They are being offered as a bundle with a CD.
Okay.
So, after you go through the experience, you'll get an offer where you can get the CD and the shirt for $20.
That's really good.
These shirts were originally, I think, like $25.
Mm-hmm.
These are awesome.
They are.
These were designed by Scrojo. Shout out to Scrojo. Scrojo gets a little something when I sell these. He does all the posters and stuff with the belly up.
Mm-hmm.
These are silk screened. It's 3 colors and it's on a next level t-shirt, so it's actually soft and comfy.
Mm-hmm.
The women's have a V-neck. The men's are, kind of classic. Mm-hmm. But I only have 6 left, y'all. I only have 6 left because these are short sleeved. So if you want one, you better get through the movie experience and get one.
It's worth it. I love my shirt. My dog recently put a hole through it.
Oh
no!
So
He likes to chew on me, and so he chewed on my shirt and pulled, and I was like, I've had this shirt for a long time, and it's been in perfect condition. Yes, but a lot of people ask me about that shirt. They really like it. And wherever I'm at and I wear that shirt, they're like, cool shirt. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, I was thinking of doing some long-sleeved ones, so maybe people
fun.
could wear them a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, if you guys are interested in that, just let me know. I could do a pre-order thing, something like that.
Okay.
And if I get enough orders. But like I said, for the time being, I've got 6 left. So I think I've got 3 for women and 3 for men. So that's what's up.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to grab a CD too so I can get another shirt. So now she might have 2
That's right. Only 2 for women left.
Well, thank you so much. And shout out to C47 Studios for doing our visual today. Thank you so much, Edric Smith, the CEO and founder there of C47 Studios. Make sure to reach out to him for any of your visual needs, production needs. He's amazing, talented, creative. Thanks again, Edric, and all those at C47 Studios.
Yeah, I feel like I should make a shout out to Big Wave Home Repair.
Yeah.
Big Wave Home Repair of Cardiff. You need a carpenter, if you need any home repair, Call my husband.
Call him. He's awesome.
And he's old school, you know. He's the kind of guy that lays awake at night and worries about the job and, you know, this and that. So he's more on the craftsman side of things, like it should be, right?
Yes,
Quality.
absolutely. Yes. Quality work. Exactly. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Lots of love.
Namaste.
Namaste. Ashe.
Ashe.
All right.